in Boston. Pix 11 presents New York Mets baseball. Today, the Mets play the Boston Red Sox. New York Mets baseball is brought to you by Chase. Make more of what's yours. By Walmart. Discover more ways to shop at Walmart today. By Pearl Vision. Nobody cares for eyes more than Pearl. And by Spectrum. TV the way you want it. More HD, more on demand. Get it now at Spectrum.com. Well, life's a party when you've already won 101 games and it's September 15th. They've been celebrating in Boston almost since the start of the season. Let's go down to Yawkey Way and hang out with the Bo Sox fans. It's all a celebration at Yawkey Way. And a pleasant good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Fenway Park. Gary Cohen, Keith Hernandez with you today as the Mets play the middle game of their series against the Red Sox. Mets won last night 8-0. More contributions from Jeff McNeil, who continues to impress in his late season audition.
Well, he'll play his 50th game since his call-up, and boy, he has just worn it out. The home run last night. What's been impressive about him, besides his very peculiar bat, has been his bat awareness, his barrel awareness. He puts the ball in play, sprays the ball all over the field, and when they make a mistake like you just saw right there, he's got the power to hit it out of a ballpark. And this is a right center field here is a long way. It was an impressive home run. He's played great defense. Defense has improved, and he's a very savvy base runner. He's having a great debut for the Mets.
He made a great play yesterday behind Noah Syndergaard. Today he'll play behind Corey Oswalt, who made that start in the rain on Sunday. He gets another crack today.
Well, this will be Corey's 10th start of the year, and he hasn't fared well. It's 2-2 in the starting role. ERA over 5. He's had a tough time his last couple outings. He's got a tough match tonight against this very good offensive Red Sox team.
And 2 years after winning the Cy Young, the New Jersey native Rick Porcello's had a nice bounce back year this year.
He certainly has. He's a 16-game winner, looking to improve on that. His last 5 starts has been a little bit difficult. He's got an ERA over 5.
Well, the Mets got the first marker last night against the best team in baseball. They'll try and make it 2 in a row today. Mets and Red Sox from Fenway. All the action on Pix 11. fans has found their way to Fenway Park, and I love these shirts. They say "Wicked Loyal." It's a good take on the Boston vernacular as they invade enemy territory.
There they are.
And given a big roar of approval as the Mets pitching staff heads out to the bullpen.
Kudos to the 7 line. I tell you, that is nice.
I don't know how they got so many tickets in this very difficult to acquire ticket venue.
Well, as you can see, we got some shadows. The players, the hitters, have to deal with some shadows.
Rick Porcello's first pitch to Ahmed Rosario, lined right at the second baseman Kinsler. 1 pitch, 1 out, and we're underway at Fenway Park. That starting lineup brought to you by the New York Lottery. Dominic Smith will play first base today. Jay Bruce will DH. That's a swap from last night. Kevin Plawecki gets the start behind the plate. Otherwise, the same unit for the Mets as in their 8-0 win last night. And there is the Seton Hall prep product, Rick Porcello.
A former Detroit Tiger. He was involved in that Cespedes trade, believe it or not, that brought him here to Boston.
Jeff McNeil hitting second in the order, takes a fastball for a strike.
And you can see right now he's not an overpowering pitcher. Look at this beautiful park. Look at the shadows. Ball will be a little bit of a darker shade for the hitters.
And there is not a cloud to mitigate it. As McNeil grounds one on the right side, another chance for Kinsler, and quickly Porcello has 2 outs.
And we'll take a look at the Red Sox defense, brought to you by your Tri-State Ford dealers. Steve Pearce, recently acquired at first base. He'll get the honors today. This outfield has 2 very strong arms. Well, they stole my thunder right there. Ship ahoy! That's a cannon out there in center field with Jackie Bradley Jr. Mookie Betts has got a pretty fair arm himself.
Took away his 5 tools from last night, though. Did he lose them? Here's Michael Conforto, on base 3 times last night, and he takes a strike from Porcello.
They say that Porcello has learned to elevate much like DeGrom. He was a sinker ball pitcher most of his career, changeup and a slider. He's throwing more breaking balls and elevating his fastball. We'll keep an eye on that as the game progresses.
And like so many pitchers, he's throwing his fastball less than he ever has in his career, just 50% of the time this season. It's been a trend throughout baseball. Pitchers encouraged to use their secondary pitches more against the power barrage that the game has endured. 2-1 to Conforto. One thing about Porcello, though, he is economical with his pitches. He had an 86 pitch complete game last month against the Yankees. I don't see that very often.
Well, he's a strike thrower.
He will give up home runs. Last year, when he took a big step backwards, he allowed 38 home runs. This year, only 26. Still in the top 10 in the league, but not quite the barrage that he suffered last year, which may be one of the reasons he started elevating the ball a little more. 2-2 to Conforto. Bruce would be next, and that's inside, and a full count to Michael.
And that's what he's going to need to do against the left-handers. He cannot live on that outside corner with that sinker. He's got to pitch inside to keep the hitters honest. But his bread and butter is always, he's going to go-to pitch is going to be that sinker down and away to lefties.
Conforto yanks one foul on a changeup. Porcello came to the big leagues as a 20-year-old with the Tigers, and he has been amazingly consistent in terms of staying on the field. This is his 10th straight year of pitching at least 150 innings. 179 1/3 so far this year. And Conforto lines one, and Kinsler's there. He makes all 3 plays in the inning. Sun got in his eyes as he grabbed it. 1-2-3 go the Mets against Porcello. Corey Oswald takes the mound when we come back. Some of the pedestrian traffic around the ballpark prior to today's game.
It is such a festive atmosphere to walk to the ballpark through the crowds that are milling about. It just makes you feel good.
Red Sox lineup brought to you by purplebricks.com. Pierce gets the start at first. Sandy Leon behind the plate. Otherwise, the same unit that played last night for Alex Cora's 101 victory team.
There's Corey Oswalt right there. His numbers. We talked to you. He's been struggling lately in the open. We told you about that. He's going to have to be very precise with his pitches, and that's not overpowering.
He got the emergency start against the Phillies last Sunday when DeGrom was scratched in the rain. Worked 3 innings in that game, gave up a Rhys Hoskins home run. He faces Mookie Betts leading off. Betts 1 for 4 last night, leads the American League in batting at .339.
Oh.
And he gets hit by the pitch, and that's how Oswalt's afternoon begins, and that one stung.
It's an elbow.
That arm a little gingerly as he removes the batting glove. The trainer's going to come out and have a look.
They don't want to take any chances. You know, it might be
He's
something.
having trouble gripping that left fist.
He just might be at this stage of the season for the Red Sox. You know, get in there and let him get some ice on that. Keep that swelling down. Probably he'll stay in the game.
He was clearly having trouble making a fist with that left hand. And the trainer testing out his feeling and his reflexes and seeing whether he needs to come out of this game.
Yeah, he's staying.
So the Red Sox will lead off base runner and a base stealer aboard. That's with 28 steals this year. He's a candidate to go 30-30. He's got 28 steals, 29 home runs. Jose Ramirez of the Indians has already become the first 30-30 player in the big leagues in 6 years, and Betts a good candidate to join him. Here's Andrew Benintendi, bluffs a bunt with the Mets in the shift, and he takes outside for ball 1. Benintendi 0 for 3 last night, 0 for his last 11. Still having a fine year, hitting .287. Scored 99 runs, 5th in the American League. Red Sox have 3 of the top 5 in the American League in runs scored.
Well, they've got 2 guys at the top, too. Mookie Betts with 28 stolen bases, as Gary mentioned. And Benintendi has 20, only been caught 3 times. So talk about your table setters.
Red Sox are 2nd in the American League in stolen bases. And Benintendi hits one slowly, ranging wide to Smith, and he throws it. It goes off the glove of Rosario, and the Red Sox will have runners at first and third. The throw was into the runner. Rosario couldn't grab it, and the Red Sox are in business.
Well, that's going to be an E3 on the throw, I would presume. And watch Dom throw sidearm, and that's much more difficult to throw when you throw sidearm to be accurate. You want to come like a catcher right from your ear. Get that ball at the ear, throw a straight dart right to your shortstop.
Well, they will charge the error to Smith to put runners at first and third with nobody out.
I don't think the sun was an issue there. The sun's over the left, over the third base line. You can tell by the shadows.
And J.D. Martinez goes after a curveball and misses.
It's going to be a tough sun field at second base and right field today.
You already saw it with Kinsler when he caught that last line drive in the top of the inning.
You can see the light stanchion on your left of your screen, so it's going to be tough for the right fielders today.
Martinez hitting .331. Top 2 in the American League in batting average and home runs and RBIs and slugging percentage and extra base hits. He's just having a wonderful first year in Boston. 41 home runs, the most that any Red Sox player has hit since David Ortiz set the club record with 54 in 2006. Oswalt ahead of him 0-2. And he strikes him out. Got him with a curveball, so Oswalt takes care of Martinez for the first out.
A look at your Met defense brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. Poecki back behind the plate. Dominic Smith DH'd yesterday. He's back at first base. And this has been your basic outfield every day in, day out.
Now Xander Bogaerts hitting cleanup today. Went 0 for 3 last night. Had a 15-game on-base streak snapped. Bogaerts with 93 runs batted in, 6th in the American League. He's hitting .351 with runners in scoring position. And a chance here with 1st and 3rd and 1 out.
Oh.
And Bogaerts has to vacate, and so does his bat.
Hey, all's fair in love and war, Garrett. And this is war out here. It's not love, it's war.
It's a 91-mile-an-hour fastball up and in. That's what it is.
Another one that got away from Oswalt. He's already hit Mookie Betts on a fastball, tried to come inside, and now this one. So he's having a hard time locating that inside corner.
Curveball on the corner, and it's 1-1. Well, if you wonder why the Red Sox lead the league in runs scored, here's a pretty good bet. You got J.D. Martinez leading the league with runners in scoring position.
That's incredible.
Bogaerts not far behind.
And you look at the team, Gary. Runners in scoring position hitting over 293 on the year as a team. Now, granted, you don't have pitchers hitting, but still, that's remarkable.
It's a big number. A few years ago, the Cardinals had that year hit like 330, which was an outlier. But if you can hit over 280 with runners in scoring position, your offense is going to have a big year. They hit home runs, but they're not the best home run hitting team in the league. They've got 188. That's 6th in the American League. Bogaerts swings and misses on a fastball away, and it's 2-2. Betts at third, Benintendi at first with 1 out. Oswald's done a pretty good job this year of controlling the running game on a team that has big problems in that regard. He's allowed only 2 stolen bases through 9 starts and 5 relief appearances.
Syndergaard yesterday got off to a rocky start holding runners on, and I thought he got better as the game progressed, Gary. He held the ball different cadences from the belt.
And he eventually picked off Ian Kinsler late in the game. Long hold this time by Oswalt to try and freeze Benintendi.
But that game last night, and they stole the 2 bases. That was Kinsler and Jackie Bradley. He was on the back end. It was like, and that was in the 3rd inning. It was like, oh, here we go again. But Syndergaard collected himself and did a good job the remainder of the game holding runners on.
Wound up going 7 scoreless innings. His first scoreless outing of the year. 2-2 coming. Benintendi runs, and Bogaerts fouls it off. Well, those are the major league ranks for the Red Sox. And they're first in everything that matters.
Yes, sir. You look at on base, slugging percentage fine, but on base percentage, runners in scoring position, runs per game.
It's really the bottom line, isn't it? First in runs per game, none of the other stuff matters.
I don't care how you score them. You score them with a bunch of singles or with home runs and extra base hits. That's why I kind of not put so much emphasis on slugging percentage. But it doesn't hurt to have a good slugging percentage as a team.
It's all good. If you're first in on base percentage and slugging percentage.
Yep. Well, they're leading the league also, American League in doubles, and a 3rd in triples.
Bogaerts fouls off another fastball. Bogaerts has 42 doubles. That ties him with Betts for 2nd in the American League. as we mentioned last night, part of the glorious part of this Red Sox team is that so many of these players are so young. Bogart's just 25, Betts 25, Benintendi 24.
Nice. Got to be happy about that if you're the general manager. And you got an ownership here that's not afraid to keep their players. And you know what? In the fans, you got young players. They become fan favorites. Their familiarity, it's important.
7th pitch of the at bat, and Bogaerts hits one toward the middle. That goes through for a base hit, and the Red Sox grab the lead. Betts scores. Benintendi to third. It's an RBI single for Xander Bogaerts, and the Red Sox jump in front 1-0. 94th run batted in for Bogaerts.
Well, the error by Dom Smith leads to a run here, and it's not over. Look how he stayed level on that high pitch, folks. Up and away, something you don't see a lot today. With everybody trying to get that lift in the launch angle, it leaves you vulnerable upstairs, but not Bogaerts there. That was a beautiful line drive swing on a pitch up and away.
So the Red Sox score for the first time in this series. First run of the game brought to you by Hyundai. The longer you look, the more there is to like. Now Steve Pearce, who tends to be a specialist against left-hand pitching, getting a start against right-hand pitching today. And he takes a strike. Pearce, who began the year in Toronto, now playing his 41st game with the Red Sox. He has made his full tour of the American League East among the 7 teams he's played for since he started in Pittsburgh. Curveball down. Plawecki blocks it to keep a runner at third.
All the infields are fast today in Major League Baseball. Rosario just can't quite get there. It makes it all the more important, Gary, when they say the old adage, baseball adage, to win you got to be strong up the middle. Catcher, middle infielders, and center field. Well, with the infield so fast today, they're as fast as AstroTurf just about. You've got to be strong up the middle defensively.
Pearce takes it below the knees. 2 balls and a strike. Oswalt on the extreme first base side of that rubber.
Well, it's obvious that he is not a drop and drive guy where he pushes off that mound.
Pearce pops it up. This will stay on the infield. McNeil shading his eyes and stays with it for the second out. And there's a big out for Oswalt. Now 2 away.
He's got to get some sunglasses on too.
I can't believe that you would take the field on a day like this not wearing sunglasses of some kind or other, especially if you're on the right side of that field.
Yes, just it's better to be safe than sorry. Anyway, I was always in day games. No matter if it was overcast or not, I always wore the flip downs, just in case.
I mean, he has no sunglasses. He also has no eye black, which sometimes can cut down on the glare.
I never bought into the eye black.
But you wore it.
I did at times just because I wanted to look like a big leaguer.
So it's all about the appearance. Nothing to do with impact. Here's Ian Kinsler, and he takes a curveball out of the zone for ball 1.
You sweat. And you rub your hands over it, it smears.
And now that's a style, the smeary eye black. Well, look at Bryce Harper.
I'm trying to think of a major league player when I was growing up in the 60s that wore eye black. I always thought it was cool.
Well, they all did for the day games then.
I can't picture someone that wore them, but they certainly, a lot of them did. And I go as far back with the skull caps.
2-0 to Kinsler, who was 2 for 3 last night and stole a couple of bases. Another guy the Red Sox got along the way, picked up from the Angels at the trading deadline. Playing his 28th game now for the Red Sox. If they would flip downs. That's a school guy.
Yeah.
Here's the 2-0, and that's a strike. 2-1. So a slog of a first inning for Oswalt, but he has a chance to get through it with just the 1 run scoring if he can get through Kinsler.
If he gets this out, it's an unearned run. Correct, Gary?
That's correct. Runner goes, pitches high, no throw by Plawecki. It's a stolen base for Bogaerts, his 8th of the year.
You know, I know the Mets, for whatever reason, they just kind of concede that. You know, there's so many plays you can do. If you can have, there's a play with a second base, whoever's covering, second or short, comes in front of the bag on the grass. So it's a 3/4 throw to second base. You can try that. Deke.
Ball 4 to Kinsler, 3-1 curveball, so he didn't seem to want any part of Kinsler there. And now the bases are loaded with Jackie Bradley coming up. So you walk the right-hand hitter, and now you're going to bring up the left-hand hitter.
Well, Bradley is a lefty. You're right, Gary. I thought he was a switch hitter. Okay.
Benintendi at third, Bogaerts at second, Kinsler at first with 2 out. Bradley 0 for 2 last night, hitting .231 for the year, but better in the second half. And he takes it below the knees for ball 1. So Oswald digging the hole a little deeper. 26 pitches deep in this inning. And Bradley takes a cut at a high fastball, and it's 1-1.
I have to confess, fans at home watching, that I said it last night. This is such a wonderful angle in our press box that it's such a joy to watch the game. I'm just not really watching the monitor that much.
And Bradley gets one in the air to right. Nimmo trying to find it in the sun, locates it, and puts it away to retire the side. So the Red Sox settle for just the 1 unearned run. They lead 1-0 after 1. Park for a good time, even the folks who are into balloon art. What do you got there? What do you think that's going to be when he's done?
I look at the Red Sox. I love the logo.
Jay Bruce leads off the second inning and takes a strike from Rick Porcello. Bruce a double and a home run last night, drove in 4 as his return from the DL resurgence continues, and he fouls off the curveball, and it's 0-2. The themes of the last 8 nights of the game brought to you by your Tri-State BMW Center.
Well, folks, the Mets are 36-36 on the road, a 500 team. So winning ways. Mets have 4 straight wins. And look at those. Rosario, what he's doing on the road offensively.
Ran out of time.
That's because
Now you get another chance.
And for Porcello, it's not so good.
Well, he started out the year great. He's kind of muddled his way through the rest of the year, but he's got 16 wins. And he misses up and away to Bruce, 1-2.
about the Mets at 500 on the road, Gary?
Well, if they could only be 500 at home, that would be a big start. Mets are 9 under at home, even 500 on the road. The Mets still mathematically have a chance for a winning record this year. They would have to go 13-2 over their last 15 games to do that.
They can bookend their season.
That's right. They were 11-1 to start the year. If they do 11-1 again, they have a pretty good chance to have a winning record. Unlikely, but possible. 2-2 now to Bruce.
That's the spray chart on ground balls off the bat of Jay Bruce. And yes, I would give him the third base line. Absolutely. I would play the third baseman more on the dividing line between 7 and 11%.
Seventh pitch from Porcello, and Bruce fouls it off. Frazier on deck, then Brandon Nimmo for the Mets in the second. Porcello traded to the Red Sox after the 2014 season. Signed a 4-year deal with Boston. He's in the 3rd year of that. Grounded down to first. Nice big hop for Pierce behind the bag, and it takes care of Bruce one away. So the defense and the pie chart pay off for the Red Sox.
Another thing I don't agree with the defense on the pie chart. You got a dead pull hitter and a left-hand hitter like Bruce, and you play the first baseman 3-5 feet off the line. You can play deep. Bruce is not going to bunt down the first base line. You can play deep and play 10 feet off the line. You can still cover the line if you've got good range.
But if you've got the second baseman so deep and so far in the hole, why wouldn't you take away the line?
That's a very good point, but you can also then move the second baseman over a little bit too. You can adjust the second baseman more towards center field, not so much the pull.
And that would help take away the 22% up the middle in Jay Bruce's pie chart, right?
It's too much mathematics for me. I'm a visual guy.
I'm trying to keep it to just the alphabet for you. Frazier 1 for 3 last night, and he pops one up into shallow left. On comes Benintendi to call into the shadow to make the catch for the second out. New York Mets baseball is brought to you by Hyundai. The longer you look, the more there is to like, and right now there's a lot to see at your local Hyundai dealer. So Porcello's retired the first 5. 2 out and nobody on for Brandon Nimmo. Nimmo got on base a couple of times last night with a walk and a hit by pitch. Otherwise 0 for 3. On base percentage at .392, 4th best in the National League. And he gets hit by yet another pitch. He took one on the knee last night. He got it close to the same spot again tonight.
Was it a breaking ball, Gare?
That is the 20th time that Nimmo's been hit by a pitch, extending his own club record.
That is way off. And you gotta wonder. I mean, Nimmo, the first time, he's not smiling.
I mean, they're not throwing at him, are they?
I mean,
is that what you're implying?
No, I'm not going to ever apply that again, Gare.
I wasn't asking whether he should. I was just asking whether you thought he did. Here's Dominic Smith with a man on, and he takes up and away from ball 1.
Now it could be. Now wouldn't Brandon?
I mean, you don't like going viral?
When Brandon last night, he didn't really move out of the way of that ball when he got hit on the knee.
And you think?
And there were some pitchers. I'm not saying now, in my day, that would say okay, and would say, here, get out of the way of this one. Not condoning it.
Well, I will say this as well. Rick Porcello hits a lot of batters. In fact, that's 16 this year, which is now the most in the American League.
Great save, Gare.
It's my glove hand.
We'll tell the folks I have my open bottled water.
So Keith just reached up to. I don't know what you were reaching for.
I had the garbage can was right here bugging me.
But
so
he had the bottle of water right here, and his mic cord was knocking the bottle of water over. It was falling, and I reached out and I saved.
It's the greatest play Gary ever made.
Best since Little League, anyway.
1-2 coming, and Dom goes down swinging on the sinker. Porcello's got his first strikeout, and the inning is over. Middle of the second. I'll save Keith for some more follies in a moment.
And the pitch by Stanley at a ground ball, trickling. It is a fair ball. Hit by Buckner. Rounding third night. The Mets will win the ball game. The Mets win.
I cannot believe it's taken us a full 11 innings into this series to show that.
Well, we want to get out of here alive.
Well, the folks here at Fenway Park aren't watching our telecast, but the folks back home like to see that Mets-Red Sox memory.
Devers hits one right through the wickets on Smith. Dominic Smith's second error in the first 2 innings. And the Red Sox have the leadoff man on. Sharply hit grounder, but one that Dom picks up in his sleep, but not this time.
We wanted timeout, too. Devers.
He didn't need time. Dom Smith needed time. So an error led to a run in the first inning, and now Dom commits his second of the day. And now Sandy Leon, the number 9 batter. Leon hitting just 184. He's 0 for his last 27.
Ouch.
He is the catcher of choice for the big pitchers in the Red Sox rotation. Sale, Price, Porcello. But Alex Cora has to figure out what his best combination is for the postseason, and he has said he's going to have these other catchers also work with his best starters because Leon has struggled so badly with the bat. You know,
I didn't even think of that.
Karma is really a difficult thing to swallow. We played the clip of Buckner letting the ball go right by him. And as soon as we did that, Devers hit the ball right by Dom Smith. It's karma, my friend.
They can get it back all they want. Not on my watch.
I would say that the leverage of the particular moment might be a little bit less today than it was 30-some years ago.
I hear that. We were tied up, though. Everybody thinks we were going to lose that game.
Well, everybody thought you were going to lose that game when you made the second out.
Yes, I did. F8 on your scorecard.
But 3 hits and a wild pitch later, you were in pretty good shape.
Gary Carter, Kevin Mitchell from the clubhouse to the on-deck circle to the batter's box, a base hit. Ray Knight.
There goes Devers. It's popped up on the infield. Rosario has to retreat. Conforto coming in, and
Nice.
Rosario goes back to get it. Nicely done by Ahmed for the first out, and Devers scrambles back to first.
That was a hit and run as Devers on the run looked back to see where the ball was. That was a hit and run. You would, I guess, so Alex Cora is trying to get Leon started here with that lengthy offer he's got. And Rosario playing with so much energy, don't you think, Gare?
I mean, to race to cover and then retreat that far to get that pop-up, that's not an easy play.
When was it? Around the All-Star break that he started turning it on and really started busting to first base. Someone got in his ear, and I said, okay, fine, let's see how long this lasts. Well, you know what? He's kept it up for a whole second half, and his play has stepped up too. I think is having a good year and a very good second half.
Mookie Betts takes curveball for a strike, and I would bet you that he'll keep that up for the next 15 years.
I would hope so, and because it's fun to watch someone like Mookie was that way. It's electric. It's invigorating, and it's infectious to your teammates.
The other Mookie strikes out on a fastball, and Oswalt has his second strikeout. By the way, if you're not familiar, Mookie Betts is not named after Mookie Wilson. He's named after Mookie Blaylock, basketball player.
Really?
Yeah. In fact, if you'll remember, when the Red Sox came to Citi Field most recently, was that 3-4 years ago? Mookie Betts was given an opportunity to meet Mookie Wilson, and he declined, which I thought was really weird. Here's Andrew Benintendi, who hit the ground ball that Smith threw away for an error in the first inning that led to the Red Sox run.
Oh, watch the landing foot get down, the striding foot, then the delivery. Now there are some pitchers that are skip a beat behind. Rick Sutcliffe was one. Believe it or not, Calvin Schiraldi was another one. Alejandro Pena. I know a lot of you young kids, these names aren't going to mean anything to you, but we have some older viewers, and you're just going to have to deal with it. But these guys were a little step behind, and it can throw a hitter off.
So you're saying their arms lagged?
Sutcliffe had the wiggle. It's like when most guys, when they plant that front foot, they're just about ready to release the ball. There were very, maybe 1% of the pitchers in my 17 years that were a beat behind, and it threw you off.
Benintendi trying to take advantage of the shift. Second time that he's bunted one foul.
And there we take another look here. Watch the point of when his foot hits the ground. Where's his arm? Just right before he releases.
Two coming. Devers runs, and Benintendi bounces it foul. So Devers has been on the move a couple of times during this inning. Red Sox are a more running team now than I can ever remember.
Yes, the Red Sox were always a base at a time. Your typical American League Earl Weaver, wait for the 3-run home run. Not this group.
Again, the 2-2, and it's upstairs. Full count to Benintendi. J.D. Martinez would be next. Smith will play behind the runner at first. Devers gets set to go. Three-two. Hit hard. That'll go through for a base hit. McNeil never saw it. Devers goes first to third. I think McNeil needs some sunglasses. He never saw that ball as it went through the infield. Not sure he would have had a chance to get to it anyway.
Well, he's got him on, and someone should just tell him, you know what, play with him down. Play with him down. If you have, watch his reaction here. On the left of your screen. No,
he never saw the ball.
Never moved.
Well, I'm glad he's at least got the flip downs on, but clearly he's having an issue with the sun.
Nice little ballet dance there by Devers to avoid the ball. Can you imagine in the days back in the 60s when you look at all the fans that came, the men wore their white shirts and dark ties? Can you imagine how tough it would be to see?
J.D. Martinez hits one up in the sun, and Nimmo, no problem with that one, and that retires the side. So Oswald works around the error in the second. As the Met fans try to take over. There's Mookie. Hey, Mook. Just for kids.
It is just such a wonderful atmosphere here. It just seems like one big happy family around the stadium. I mean it.
Those are some pretty big kids, by the way, going in through the kids' entrance. Kevin Plawecki leads off in the third inning with the Mets down 1-0. Tomas Nido caught each of the last two games. Plawecki will catch today, and he'll catch Jacob deGrom tomorrow. Porcello misses inside 1-1. Plawecki, then Austin Jackson and Ahmed Rosario for the Mets in the third. Strong work by Corey Oswalt to limit the damage in the first two innings, despite two errors, just one run. There's a nice slider by Porcello when it's 1-2. Oswalt had to throw a lot of extra pitches because of those errors. 45 in the first two innings, but just the one unearned run. 1-2 coming, and Plawecki fouls it back. So the Red Sox are having an historic season, right? They've won 101 games. They're trying to get to 110 or better. And one of the teams that was able to get to 110 or more were the 1954 Cleveland Indians. They won 111 games. And Rick Porcello has a connection to that team. His grandfather was Sam Denty. Sam Denty played for 5 major league teams, including the 1954 Cleveland Indians, and he played in the World Series that year against the Giants. And that's Rick's grandfather. Fly ball out to right, and Bed's shading his eyes. Bradley comes over to help and makes the catch. I don't think Betts ever saw it, but Bradley saw it better.
Well, you can see the shadows. It's a smart move by Jackie Bradley there. He's cutting across the field, looking to the right field line. The sun is kind of off to his right, where you can see Mookie Betts is looking right into the sun. So you can see it's a better, easier play for Bradley. Very wisely done. Taking control there, taking charge.
Austin Jackson takes a strike. I always go back to that 1978 playoff game when Lou Piniella made that blind grab of a one-hopper in right field in a sun almost identical to what we have today, a late afternoon sun. This is about as difficult a sun field as there is, especially late in the year and into October. Jackson hit one over the Green Monster last night for his 3rd home run of the season. One of the 4 home runs the Mets hit last night. It's the 4th time this year the Mets have hit 4 home runs in a game. It's all been on the road, not surprisingly. High-speed pitch comes from Infinity and powered the drive. Close. Porcello by an eyelash. Yeah. 2 guys who don't light up the radar gun. 2-2 to Jackson. He fouls back a slider. McNeil just beside himself about not seeing that ball in the sun. I just didn't see it.
He's a little chirper in that dugout. I like the way he comports himself.
He takes it very seriously, and
he's into it.
Yeah, and he'll acknowledge that, you know, coming to the big leagues and playing here it's a lot more stressful than playing in the minor leagues, and he's trying to piece together his game, and he's done an amazing job of it over the first couple of months.
You're only as good as your last game.
Pitch of number 7 to Jackson. He takes a call, 3rd strike. Fastball down looking. Porcello's 2nd strikeout. Purchase your 2019 Mets season ticket package today. Choose from full season, half season, or 20 game plans that include opening day and the Subway Series. Plus, for a limited time, receive an authentic or replica Mets jersey with your purchase. Purchase your plan today at Mets.com/ticket plans. Second time around the batting order now for Porcello. Ahmed Rosario bluffing a bunt, and he takes a curveball for a strike. Rosario hit the first pitch of the game, a line drive to the second baseman. Mets have scored 30 runs in their last 4 games. Their first 4-game winning streak since May. And only their 3rd winning streak of 4 or more this year. They had the 9-game winning streak in April, 4-game winning streak in May, and now a 4-game winning streak in September. Slider in for a strike, and it's 1-2. Mets looking for their first hit against Porcello. And there's strike 3 called. So Porcello able to dot the outside corner to both Jackson and Rosario. He's got his 3rd strikeout of the day, and the Red Sox have a 1-0 lead as we go to the bottom of the 3rd.
That's the heart of Boston. There you go, Pat. Say, win one for the East Coast.
That's a wicked good lobster right there.
Yeah, but that lobster's not very happy.
All right, who's he?
No.
You got torched.
Boiled alive.
Ugh.
Xander Bogaerts leads off in the home third and takes curveball for a strike. Bogaerts had the base hit up the middle that drove in this game's only run. 94 RBIs for Bogaerts. Oswalt working his third inning, and Bogaerts pops one foul off the right side, and then he'll make it out of play. 0-2. So Corey Oswalt has a distinction today that no Met has ever had in a regular season game before. He's the first Mets rookie pitcher, rookie starting pitcher, to start against a team that has 100 wins.
Oh.
Now, it did happen in the postseason in 1969 when Gary Gentry faced the Orioles in the World Series.
Well, you would think.
Strike three called as Bogaerts gets caught looking at a changeup. Third strikeout for Oswalt.
You would think there would be more with the Mets, with September call-ups.
Well, 100 wins is hard to achieve. In fact, how about this? Last night when the Mets beat the Braves, beat the Red Sox, it was only the 5th time the Mets had ever won a game in the regular season against a team that had won 100 games. The other 4 times all came against the Braves. Twice in '97, once in '99, once in 2002. So you just don't play teams with 100 wins all that often. But Gentry faced a team that won 109 that year when he beat the Orioles in Game 3 of the World Series, 6 2/3 scoreless innings.
And remember when we were in Baltimore, Steve interviewed Boog Powell, and he echoed what Davey Johnson told me, and that was we were all Seaver Kuzman, how hard they threw, and then this little guy comes out there, and we came back in after we went once through the order and said, who in the heck is this guy?
Right.
He's throwing every bit as hard as Seaver and Kuzman. That was Gary Gentry.
Yeah. It was a shame. Gentry hurt his arm shortly after that and never really was able to replicate the success of his rookie year.
He moved on to Atlanta, right?
Went in the trade for Danny Frisella, I believe, if I recall correctly. Or maybe he went with Frisella for Felix Millan.
Right.
Hit hard toward the hole, and Steve Pearce has a base hit.
He's just barely on the rubber, folks. Usually you dig in and so you can push off. And he doesn't really drive off that mound, that's for sure. Push off that back foot.
The only guy I can remember that far to the first base side of the rubber. Remember Kevin Brown, a great sinker baller?
Yeah,
he was all the way over there like that.
Was he with Texas?
He was with Texas. He was with the Marlins. He was.
Yeah, he's the one I faced in
Dodgers.
In Cleveland, and he pitched against us in Cleveland. And I remember he threw me a couple of those hard sinkers, and I said, I think it's time for me to retire. I was 37, and I was injured most of the year, and I'd never had when guys were tough, you just bore down. But I didn't think I had a chance against him.
I mean, Brown's theory, throwing from that far on the first base side of the rubber, was with the arm side movement he got on that sinker, that he could start in the middle of the plate, make it look like a strike, and make you retire.
Yes, that and Bobby Thigpen put one under my chin at Comiskey Park. And that's when a twilight doubleheader at the first time up. I said, it's time for me to get out of this game.
Kinsler with the big cut fouls went back. Well, that was the year that Thigpen set the record with 57 saves.
He threw bullets. But today's gun, he'd be 100 miles an hour. I mean, he just brought it on, man. And you remember Comiskey Park looked like an old, looked like a horse race track.
Right.
All the painted green and the sun over much like it is today. and the reflection off the green paint and in center field. I didn't see it, and it was shadows like this, and I felt the wind. The only time in my career I felt the wind under my chin as the ball went under my chin.
I never saw it.
I saw it, but I saw it too late. I didn't react, and that kind of gets your attention, that maybe it's time to go.
Kinsler pops one a mile high and right to the line and out of play. Around the Majors brought to you by Bob's online at mybobs.com. Well, Puig hit 2 home runs last night, 3 home runs today. That is quite a 24 hours for Mr. Puig and for the Dodgers, who won 17-4 today over the Cardinals. They've taken the first 3 of that crucial series, and with that, the Dodgers have passed the Cardinals, and they're now in the second wild card spot, and they could take over first place in the West tonight if the Giants beat the Rockies again. Last night, Chris Stratton shut out the Rockies on a 2-hitter, and tonight the Rockies face Madison Bumgarner. So the Dodgers could be in first place by the end of the night. So they're on quite the late run now. 3-2 to Kinsler with Pierce at first. He's running, and Kinsler fouls one away. So with that Dodger win, they're now a game in front of the Cardinals for the second wild card, with Milwaukee sitting pretty. Milwaukee's also only a game and a half behind the Cubs for first place in the Central after both those teams won last night.
Philadelphia 5.5, but there's too many teams in front of them.
Yeah, they would need a minor miracle right now.
I just can't see it with that personnel they run out there every day.
Mets will be in Philly starting on Monday for a 3-game series. Speaking of the Cubs, by the way, and their game and a half lead, you know, they lost Brandon Morrow, their closer, and then they lost Pedro Strop night before last to a hamstring injury. He had been closing in Morrow's stead. So Joe Maddon's trying to figure out the end of his bullpen. There's a closer play at first. He used Jorge De La Rosa last night to close in a 1-run game. Jaime Garcia in the 8th, Jorge De La Rosa in the 9th for his first career save at age 37.
Wow.
Mets are going to get their bullpen going now. Daniel Zamora starting to warm up behind Oswalt, who's already about to throw his 60th pitch with 1 out in the 3rd. Pierce runs and Kinsler fouls off another one. So a long turn at bat here for Kinsler.
You know who was here today I took a photo with? I didn't recognize him at first. Was the old famous, one of the first agents in baseball. Jerry Kapstein was in the eats room, the cafeteria today. He got that big contract for Wayne Garland, remember?
Right,
the 10-year
with
deal.
the Indians.
10-year deal.
He had the one great year with the Orioles.
Right.
And he got the 10-year deal with the Indians, and he was hurt basically the entirety of it.
Was it for $2 million, something like that?
1.6, something like that.
Yeah, and that was
big money at
that
the
was
time.
a 10-year deal, and Garland never really had a year like that ever again. He wound up in Atlanta. I remember I faced him in Atlanta.
Kinsler pops this one up. Plawecki hoping this one stays in play, and it does. And that's the second out. So Oswalt really battling here. He's had lots of traffic, lots of long at bats. Still has given up just the 1 unearned run. Threw 59 pitches in 3 innings in his last start against the Phillies. That one didn't go quite so well. And now he's already thrown 61 pitches inside of 3 innings today. And here comes Mickey Callaway. He might make a pitching change right now.
Really?
With the left-hand hitter Bradley coming up. He's got Zamora ready in the bullpen.
Oh, I don't know. I just let the kid pitch. I don't understand this.
And he's making the sign.
All right. It is what it is.
So Oswalt, who made the emergency start in the rain last Sunday, goes 2 2/3 today. And Zamora will replace him with 2 out in the 3rd. Call to the bullpen brought to you by Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center. 1-0 Red Sox in the 3rd. We'll be right back. It's been 8 days since we last saw Daniel Zamora on the mound.
8 days a week.
Jackie Bradley, the batter. And he fouls off the first pitch slider, 0-1. So Oswalt goes 2 2/3, 61 pitches, gave up 3 hits, an unearned run so far, a walk, 3 strikeouts, a hit batsman.
I thought he was throwing very well.
I have to believe that this is more about giving Zamora a particular spot in this game than it is about taking Oswalt out. I mean, he already got Bradley out once in a big spot in the first inning with the bases loaded, and had been pitching very well. He's been a starting pitcher all year. Certainly pitch count shouldn't be an issue. And Zamora fires a fastball by Bradley, and it's 1-2. Anytime Zamora throws a fastball, it's a surprise. He's throwing that slider over 80% of the time. One-two coming, and he struck him out with the slider. So Zamora comes in and gets his man, and that'll do it for the Red Sox in the third. We head for the fourth. Met fans enjoying their day in Boston with the Red Sox fans. Oh, everybody getting along. So nice. MyBobs.com. Fourth inning at Fenway Park, 1-0 Boston. Jeff McNeil leads off against Rick Porcello. McNeil grounded out his first time up. Conforto and Bruce to follow against Porcello. Mets looking for their first hit.
And playing McNeil with the big shift. 3 guys on the right side of the infield. I don't understand it.
McNeil takes a strike, 2-1.
There's that Nellie Fox, the closest thing to a Nellie Fox bat I've seen in a very long time. And it's hard not to notice, but I'm sure the opposing pitchers notice, and it looks very peculiar, but I don't think it has any effect on the opposition.
I wonder whether the hitters on the other team notice. I mean, Met pitchers have borrowed his bat repeatedly, so they're obviously intrigued by it. I wonder whether other hitters are looking at that as well and thinking, I wonder if that would work for me.
You know what you don't see a lot anymore in today's game is, remember the R161? It was a thin to medium handle, but it had the big old barrel, like the Coke bottle barrel, like Rusty used to use. You don't see the big, big barrels anymore. And I think a lot of that has to do with the different wood now. You know, the maple. I mean, Rusty used a very tiny bat as far as length. I think it was 34 inches, and it was like a war club. And he choked up Rusty all the time because he stood on top of the plate and he had that big old barrel, and it was a heavy bat. Rusty was so strong.
Nobody swings heavy bats anymore. McNeil pulls that one through the hole. That'll go in for a base hit. And the Mets have their first hit of the afternoon against Rick Porcello. So they shifted him. He hit it right through the shift.
Well, he continues to. This ball just bled enough. You make a mistake inside on him, and he'll put a hurt on you because they're trying to throw him in. I thought, you know, going back to the heavy bats here, we showed that last homestand, or we were playing Atlanta or something, where Chipper Jones was interviewed, and he said one of the biggest things that ever happened to him was when Willie Stargell retired and was briefly third base coach for the Braves. Willie was the one that told him to get used to swinging a heavy bat. And he said that was a big, great advice for him, and he thinks that contributed to his power and helped him with his home run, which I thought was very, very interesting.
Who's Hot is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. That's what Conforto's done during his current 7-game hitting streak. As good a streak as he's had all year.
Well, we got a beautiful sunny day. It was overcast this morning, most of the morning. It's burned off now. Spectacular afternoon.
Porcello ahead 0-2, and he sails one. It's interesting, Chipper Jones talking about using a heavier bat, because I just don't think that's something that players even
they use light
fathom
bats
now. They want light bats to create as much bat speed as possible.
Right.
And
I felt that way. I was always told by my dad, the bat should never swing you. You swing the bat. And I think what's happened today, Gary, is with the wood, the maple. It's like concrete, and the bats are not as pliable. So you always used a heavier bat because you got better wood. You never wanted a bat. If you swung a 35-inch bat, you never wanted to go below 2 ounces below the length. So the most you can go is 35, 33 ounce. That sort of thing. Now with the maple, that got rid of all that. And these guys swing 31-ounce bats, and to me it's like a toothpick. And I never liked a heavy bat. I swung a 32.5-ounce bat, and I was very comfortable with that. I felt I could do anything and handle the bat. But 31 to me feels like a toothpick, like I got a wiffle ball bat in my hand.
I guess it's all a matter of what you're comfortable with, but also it's a matter of philosophy too. That's lined towards short and snagged for the out. It's the third baseman Devers grabbing that ball in the shortstop position. So Conforto's hit 2 line drives and been retired twice.
Well, that's okay, Michael. You keep hitting line drives, go gap to gap, and you're going to have a lot of success.
So 1 out and 1 on. Now Jay Bruce, who grounded out his first time up. McNeil at first, carrying the tying run with 1 out. He's running. The throw by Leon, not even close. And McNeil has a stolen base, his 5th of the year.
And that's another thing that McNeil brings to the plate. Well, I shouldn't say plate. It's a baseball term.
It's also a generic
term. Right. What's part of his game is that, you know, he's not blazing speed, but he's an intelligent base runner, and you can sneak 20 stolen bases a year. And he's very good reaction. He's quick. He got good bursts.
And I think he's got some really good baseball instincts, Keith. I mean, he picked a good pitch to run on. First pitch curveball.
Well, that's a matter of luck right there. I mean, that's the luck of the draw. I don't think he's been around enough to have a feel for a pitcher, you know, particularly at the other league. You know, everything for him is brand new. It's a new experience for him every game.
Bruce strikes out on a high fastball, and that's the 2nd out. 4 strikeouts for Porcello.
But with his kind of intelligence and savvy, baseball savvy, as he becomes a veteran, if he gets to that point, I'm sure he'll be able to pick on little nuances from opponents, from opposing pitchers.
So 2 out, McNeil at 2nd, and here's Frazier, who flied out his first time up. Frazier was one of the few Mets who had ever faced Porcello before today. Frazier, Bruce, Jackson all had a handful of bats against him. Porcello had faced the Mets only twice in his career. Once with the Tigers, once with the Red Sox.
Isn't that an interesting position where Angel Hernandez is on the bases for a second base umpire with a runner on second? Gary on the.
Usually they're on the grass.
Yeah.
Not on the dirt.
It's kind of a peculiar. He keeps looking over his shoulder because he's got to make sure, number one, there's no pickoff. But he seems kind of far away. If there is a pickoff, he seems like he's too far away from second base. I don't think I've ever seen that because of that kind of positioning. Have you?
No, and I'm wondering whether the shifts have created a difference in the way the umpires position themselves. It's a good slider by Porcello, and it's 2-1.
I mean, I've been watching him this pretty much now since this Frazier got up, and he has to look over his shoulder because there might be a pickoff play. He's got to make sure when Porcello comes to the belt, he looks over his shoulder to make sure that there's not a pickoff because he's going to have to rush over there to make the call.
Frazier gets under one, flies one toward the stands, third base side, and it'll go out of play. Here's your Mets' upcoming schedule, brought to you by your local Honda dealer. One more game to go in this series tomorrow. That'll be on SNY, 1 o'clock.
Yep.
And 3 in Philly and 4 in Washington to close out the final road trip of the year.
And yes, it will be the last road trip of the year.
And the Mets go home for the final week of the season to play the Braves and the Marlins, including the swan song for David Wright on Saturday the 29th. I understand that ticket has become almost impossible to get, and not surprisingly. Frazier wastes that one away.
It also just shows you how beloved David is.
David got a great honor today. It was really a sweet thing. Dustin Pedroia, who is, I mean, he's the David Wright of the Red Sox. He's out for the year with a knee injury. He got a number 5 from the scoreboard, from the hand-operated scoreboard, and he presented the number 5 to David as a parting gesture.
Nice touch.
It's Health Report brought to you by Pearl Vision. Nobody cares for eyes more than Pearl. I think Callaway has said there's a chance that David could pinch hit before he plays that last game on the 29th. I'm not sure whether that's going to happen or not, but the most important thing is that he will have a chance to take the field in a Mets uniform one more time. Seventh pitch coming to Frazier, and fouls off another one. Frazier, if nothing else, making Porcello work. He's fouled off some tough pitches. It's going to be interesting to see with the news about David, with the Mets going to play 2 division rivals these next 2 series, whether the Phillies and or the Nationals have any kind of tribute to him on his way out.
We'll see. I won't be there.
He'll be in Washington.
In Washington, yes.
Full count to Frazier. Brandon Nimmo on deck.
Actually, Ron and I, we got emailed by George Will. We're going to have lunch with George up in Georgetown on Friday or Saturday. One of those 2 days, I'm not sure. Which is always an interesting lunch, and it's not political in any way. It's always about baseball with George.
Pitch number 9 to Frazier, and he lays off ball 4. That's quite a turn at bat for Frazier. Porcello wound up throwing him a 3-2 changeup, issuing his first walk of the day. So 2 out and 2 on. Now Nimmo got hit in the leg by a pitch his first time up. Second time in 2 days he's been struck. 20 times this year now he's been hit by a pitch, a new Mets club record that he keeps painfully adding to. And he fouls off first pitch fastball, 0-1. Playing right behind McNeil at second, so he can't get too far away. And it's dribbled foul, and it's 0-2. Red Sox fans are used to having New York fans in their territory. When the Yankees come here to play, I don't know if they were expecting the same kind of turnout from Mets fans. So they've had to rev up their game a little bit today. 0-2 coming, and Nimmo pops one foul off the left side. That'll go out of play. Porcello about to throw his 30th pitch of this inning. A lot of long turns at bat. McNeil saw 8 pitches. Frazier saw 9. He sails one upstairs, 1-2. One-two coming. Hit in the air to right field deep. Back goes Betts to the warning track. Back at the wall. Jumping, and it's out of here. Betts with the leap at the wall. Nimmo clears the fence for a 3-run homer, and the Mets go in front 3-1. Number 17 for Nimmo.
Take a look at the pitch, folks. Wants to come in. Look at it bleed out. That's what a sinker ball pitcher has to be careful. And that went right into that, bled right into the wheelhouse. Nice effort by Betts. Number 17. Who would have thought Nimmo would have 17 home runs?
The Mets came pretty close, trying to keep that ball out of the bullpen. But the Mets, who had 4 home runs last night, get one big swing from Nimmo to take the lead. Well, it's an inning where Met hitters have put a lot of pressure on Porcello, working long turns at bat, and it pays off in a big way.
Well, there it is, right down the pipe and belt high, and look at the level swing. You don't have to swing up to hit a home run. He just got under it a little bit.
And now Smith follows with a fly ball to center, chasing Bradley back a few strides. And he puts it away to retire the side, but not before Nimmo's 3-run homer puts the Mets in front. Number 17 for Brandon, 3-1 Mets in the 4th. Brandon Nimmo greeting his public after his 3-run homer puts the Mets in front.
Very nice.
Here's your line score brought to you by Volkswagen.
Well,
Red Sox got an unearned run against Corey Oswalt in the first. He was able to hold the fort until Nimmo rode into town.
yeah, what a way to get back at the pitcher with a home run. He got hit the first time up, and come back with a 3-run bomb and ruined my day.
Daniel Zamora got the final out in the 3rd. He'll stay on to start the 4th with Rafael Devers at the plate. Another left-hand hitter for Zamora to face, and he misses with the slider for ball 1. Devers hit a ground ball that's scooted on by Dominic Smith for an error his first time up. Paul Sewald up in the Mets bullpen. Be a day when the Mets will use a lot of relief pitching. Oswalt went 2 2/3 in his start. Gave up an unearned run on 3 hits, and now Zamora, and plenty more to come after that. Devers chases the slider, and it's 1-2. Hitters who have not faced Daniel Zamora before do not get very good swings of that slider.
Well, he's got the big sweeper, and he loves it.
Question is, as he gets around the league a couple of times, is that something hitters can adjust to?
Well, look what Blevins, when Blevins first came over in most of his career, he was that big sweeping hook. And we've seen his transformation here as he's gotten older, mixing in his fastball. You can't just live with one pitch.
But Zamora comes pretty close.
Well, right now, it doesn't mean you don't throw it. You can throw it the great majority of the time, but I think there'll be a point where he, you know, if you keep throwing it, where's the hitter going to look? He's going to look out there, the left-hand hitter, and he's going to be vulnerable inside.
Well, he strikes him out with a slider. So 2 batters for Zamora, 2 strikeouts, and there's the first out of the home fourth.
Well, here's your breaking ball. And it's almost a sidearm slider. It's flat, but he takes a lot off, which makes me think his hand comes under the ball. I don't know if I can kind of show you. Normally, can we get a look up here in the booth, guys? I mean, I'm taking over direction here when you get a chance.
Sounds like they're ignoring you.
They are. I'd like to make a point on Zamora's breaking ball, which is a lot like, you know, guys that throw sidearm, and how they can take a lot off their pitch. Most guys throw their sliders up here and come down. Zamora is more out here, so he comes under his slider. And when he comes under like this, that's why it's horizontal, but he's able to take, it loses speed. He can off speed it. It's a big sweeper. I just felt I needed to have that visual for you folks. I don't have enough vocabulary to describe that.
I thought that was a very nice demonstration, Keith.
So here he is. He's almost sidearm. And you can see he's, you know, because he's out, way out, almost like 10 o'clock, or that he has to come under the ball a little bit.
2-2 to the switch hitter, Leon. And he tries to backdoor that slider and misses 3-2.
And there's your free. See, he's under it instead of on top of the guys that throw over the top or up higher.
To Leon. And he got him looking at the slider. 3 batters, 3 strikeouts for Daniel Zamora.
Very nice.
2 down.
Fenway Park, no big deal.
And that'll earn him the right to stay in and face Mookie Betts.
Mookie Betts looking for his 30th home run.
Betts was hit by a pitch and scored the Red Sox run in the first. He struck out in the second.
He's got an 8-point lead over his teammate for the batting title, and I think Mookie Betts right now would rather have the batting title than the 30 home runs.
I think he'd rather have the MVP.
Well, yeah.
And maybe a World Series championship.
Yes. Batting title's pretty nice, Gary. It's a nice thing to have. Nice notch on your belt. You know, you're a member of the club.
I wonder whether guys value batting titles as much as they
come
used
on, that's got to be very prideful. Has to be. It's quite an accomplishment. You know, and particularly, you know, there's batting titles in both leagues, but if you lead the majors in hitting, if you hit the best in the majors, come on, you've got to love that.
1-2 off the plate. That number is extraordinary. 907 OPS with 2 strikes.
Wow.
I mean, that would be a great number overall, but with 2 strikes.
And he struck out 81 times this year, so he's not, you know, that's pretty good in today's game.
Two to Betts. And he rolls over that one.
Seems like the Red Sox right now offensively are not clicking on all cylinders.
Well, when you have a big lead with 2 weeks to go, is there a tendency for a little bit of a step back? I don't want to call it letdown necessarily. I mean, you've been in that position.
I don't think so. I think you got to go out there and you just don't. If you start getting complacent, you know, it's like if you start sloughing over one thing, then it's another. So it's best just to put a stop to it. They know the buck stops here. I'm going to keep plugging away. I want to have the best season I can have. I mean, we're going to win our division. I'm going to get myself. I'm going to go up there and not waste any at bat.
And that backdoor slider misses. So for the third straight batter, Zamora runs a full count. And Benintendi on deck. Eighth pitch from Zamora to Betts. And he missed ball 4. So the Red Sox have a 2-out base runner.
There he tried to sneak a fastball right there by him, and that got the dugout.
Almost knocked the Cy Young Award winner off his pins. He'll be pitching tomorrow. He is really, really looking forward to pitching at Fenway.
As he should, yes.
And matching up against his old college rival, Chris Sale. Here's Benintendi, who's reached on an error and singled, 1 for 2. Max Scherzer took it on the chin yesterday. 6 earned runs in 4 innings, inflating his ERA to over 2.5. Aaron Nola had a rough last start as well. So DeGrom has that much more space in the ERA race going into his start tomorrow. And slider misses low and in to Benintendi, 1-0.
Benintendi, a 233 hitter against left-handers. Struck out last night against, he had popped up last night against Blevins.
And Zamora falls behind him 2-0. Benintendi snapped an 0 for 12 stretch with the base hit his last time up. It was that ball that McNeil didn't see as it went through the right side. The shadows have gone far enough out into right field that only the right fielder should be bothered by them now. And he takes a slider for a strike, 2-1.
Hanger. Be careful. Big cut on that one.
Betts at first with 2 out, 2-2 to Benintendi. And Zamora checks in on Betts, who is at 28 steals for the year, 5th in the American League. Tom Goodwin, former Mets first base coach, now in the same role with the Red Sox, leaning over and whispering to Betts. 2-2. Got him with a slider, side retired. Zamora gets 4 outs, all on strikeouts, as he takes care of Benintendi to leave Betts stranded. Some solid pitching by Zamora, 3-1 Mets. Fifth inning at Fenway Park. Mets won last night. They lead 3-1 today in these very well appointed accommodations at Fenway Park. Kevin Plawecki leads off and takes ball one. We check in with Steve Gelb. Steve?
Well, Gary, yeah, there are very nicely appointed accommodations here for both the visitors and the home team, but it used to be very different here at Fenway Park. Until 1953, both the visiting clubhouse and the home clubhouse, as Plawecki grounds out one away, were situated on the same side of the field, on the first base side of the field, and both teams would come up through the exact same tunnel at the same time onto the field to play the game. In 1952, there was a significant incident. Jimmy Pearsall and Billy Martin, shocker, got into a fist fight as they were walking onto the field. After that year, management here said, you know what, let's separate the two, and they created the road clubhouse right behind the road dugout like it is everywhere else.
I think that was a wise move on their part.
It was the same thing in Forbes Field. A great story about Don Drysdale. They had a knockdown drag out where Drysdale was knocking down, got into a knockdown match, and Drysdale, of course, was notorious for that. The Dodgers were in Forbes Field. They knocked Drysdale out around the fourth or third inning, and he had to walk. He didn't walk into the dugout. He walked into the clubhouse, which was through the Pirates dugout, and no one in the Pirates dugout moved. He just walked in, and they made room for him.
Well, of course, at the Polo Grounds, the clubhouses were in center field, and both teams had to walk out there together. And there was just one thin wall between the clubhouses. And very famously, when the Giants beat the Dodgers in that famous 1951 playoff, the sounds of celebration seeped very loudly into the Dodger clubhouse next door.
Well, I know that the Dodger clubhouse was silent.
Jackson strikes out for the second out. 5 strikeouts now for Porcello, 2 out of the inning. There's the Red Sox clubhouse, just in the in the walkway where all the fans go by.
Restricted.
Two out and nobody on now. Rosario, who's lined out and struck out 0 for 2.
You know, guys, the really cool thing about this park is that obviously there is so much history, but little nuggets like that are available to the viewing public as of 6 years ago. They did something, it was 2012, 100-year anniversary of Fenway Park, and the idea was to do something called 100 Pieces of History. So everywhere you go in this park, everywhere you sit in this park, there is something pretty close to you, a plaque that commemorates a moment and gives you a little story, just like there is with that visitor's dugout plaque, which is right out in the hall outside here.
Rosario flies one out to right, and Betts this time can see it just fine. And that retires the side. Best inning so far for Rick Porcello as he sets the Mets down 1-2-3. Halfway through, 3-1 New York. Fenway Museum on the premises here. Look how the seating has changed over the years.
Yes.
Ted Williams' locker.
Wow. Muriel. Edie Adams.
Bright sunny day at Fenway, and sunshine has fallen on the Mets so far in this series. An 8-0 win last night. They lead 3-1 today. Paul Sewald will be the third Met pitcher of the day, and J.D. Martinez takes a fastball for a strike.
41 home runs, 122 RBIs. There's Paul's numbers. It's been a tough year. Got off to a good start. Boy, the season hasn't just kind of fell apart for him.
Had a good outing against the Marlins his last time out. Martinez has struck out and flied out today. Bogarts and Pierce to follow. 3 right-hand batters. So Zamora did yeoman work getting through the lefties. And in the third, 4 strikeouts and a walk. And now Sewald pitching in the 5th. In tight to Martinez, 2-1.
Those seats look pretty wide, you know. I'm sure, you know, the people were a lot smaller back in those days. There's a lot of room.
Well,
they wanted.
Got to squeeze a few more seats in. You got to make them a little narrower.
You think?
Big fastball by Sewald, 2-2.
Well, that was right down the middle.
And of course, the pillars are still here, which means there are obstructed view seats. Sometimes you got to duck and weave to see the game. 2-2 coming. And he got him looking. So Sewald strikes out Martinez, who begs to differ with Chad Whitson.
Well, that's a strike, JD.
That is 8 strikeouts for Met pitchers through 4 1/3 innings.
I'd say knee high towards the outside corner.
Pitchcaster always says yes. Well, it's called pitchcast. It's not called hittercast. If it was called hittercast, maybe occasionally it would be a ball. But on pitchcast, it's always a strike. The bias is in the name, Keith. Xander Bogaerts takes a strike.
I'm not going to waste any energy on that one, Garrett.
Bogaerts drove in the Red Sox run with a first inning single. Boston's left 7 runners on base through the first 4 innings.
What's interesting is that, you know, as much as I miss Ron's not here. Ron had to go to do the game in Houston. He had an early flight this morning, but I was so bunched over here into the corner that I couldn't see down the right field line. The whole game yesterday, I had to lean out over to look at the right field line. And now, with just you and I, and you know how I like to get closer to you when with you and I in the booth, I can see all the way down the right field line.
So it's almost like you had one of those pillars in front of you last night that
yes.
you had to bob and weave around.
I was over here, and I had to go and look like this.
Looks like you're looking at Howie. Maybe we'll put you behind an actual pole tomorrow.
Oh, I can pull the curtain on him.
Oh, on Howie?
We got the blackout curtain here on Howie and Wayne.
Well, there they are. Bogaerts pops it up, and McNeil out in shallow center. And there are 2 out. Now Howie was probably right in the middle of talking, and you're disturbing him in the middle of his work.
Let me heck with them. Go away.
You're incorrigible.
Oh, Howie's cranky.
He thinks you want to get into his act.
What fun.
See, just because you went on the air with him the other day and did play-by-play, now you want to be a whole part of the radio broadcast.
Right.
Now he's trying to figure out what precipitated that intrusion. Steve Pearce is 1 for 2. Pearce has popped up and singled to left. And a fastball strike, and it's 2-2 to Pierce. Seawald looks like a little extra giddy up this afternoon.
Yep. Throwing hard.
2-2 coming. And he misses with the slider, full count. Ian Kinsler would be next. And Pierce bounces one toward the middle. That'll go through for a base hit. So Pierce has his second hit of the game. Bobbled momentarily by Jackson, but no advance.
A little Baltimore chop up the middle.
So a 2-out single for Pierce, the 4th Boston hit. And now Ian Kinsler, who's walked and fouled out to the catcher 0 for 1. With the Red Sox loss last night and the Yankees win, the Red Sox magic number for clinching the American League East stayed at 6. What it guaranteed was that the Red Sox could not clinch in this series against the Mets. However, their next series is against the Yankees, and I think they probably preferred to clinch against the Yankees.
And that, well, you know, I prefer it myself. They would get in the way of our broadcast. You know, we'd have to stay here and watch them jump up and down, and you know.
Well, if it had gotten to tomorrow with the Red Sox having a chance to clinch, it would have been incumbent upon the Mets to prevent that from happening.
That's true.
To delay their celebration.
They're doing a good job right now. If they can hang on to this one.
101 wins and 47 losses. First time they've reached 100 victories since 1946, which is stunning that it's taken that long. Up and in fastball from Seawald, and it's 1-2 to Kinsler. I mean, you would have thought with all the success the Red Sox have had, that it would not take a 72-year span since their last 100-win season.
Yeah, since Ted Williams was in uniform.
I mean, they won 3 World Series in the last decade and a half. That's lined into center field, and Kinsler's got a base hit. So back-to-back 2-out hits for the Red Sox. And they've got the tying runs on base with 2 down.
Couple left-hand hitters.
Dave Island out to talk to Seawald. Mets scurrying around a little bit in the bullpen. They're going to get somebody else up. Looks like Drew Smith is beginning to throw. Red Sox made the deal for Ian Kinsler at the trading deadline because of the uncertainty about Dustin Pedroia's knee, and it turns out to have been the right choice. Pedroia now out for the season because of those recurring knee problems. He is not ready to pack it in, though. He fully intends to make a comeback. May not be the player that he once was, but he is still the heart and soul of this Red Sox team.
He is a MVP.
Here's Jackie Bradley, who's flied out and struck out 0 for 2. Red Sox have left 7 runners in the first 4 innings. Seawald trying to strand a couple more, and he gets one in for a strike, 0-1. There's Drew Smith getting ready in the sunshine. One place where the sunshine is left. Ball and a strike to Bradley, who had a breakout offensive season 2 years ago. Made the All-Star team, hit 26 home runs that year, but He has had trouble sustaining any kind of offensive prowess. Lifetime .238 hitter. But he is a world-class defensive player. Pierce at second, Kinsler at first with 2 out. I guess the best way to put it is that Jackie Bradley is kind of like the Red Sox Juan Lagares.
As you said, you got to be strong up the middle. You can play defense. Get you in the lineup.
He hits this one deep to left. Conforto back, looks up at the wall, and it's out of here. Jackie Bradley with an opposite field 3-run homer. And the Red Sox go in front 4-3. th home run of the year for Bradley. And the Red Sox leapfrog in front.
Good old Fenway, right down the pipe fastball. Why not play it that way? And he hit this ball good, and it just barely gets over the monster.
He hit that back railing there, and that is a home run. That landed right in the neighborhood where Omir Santos' home run landed 9 years ago, the last time the Mets were here. They're going to go check this out on replay.
But this is the situation. We talked about this yesterday. We've already seen it. Why don't they just relay it instantly from Chelsea to the umpire so they don't have to waste all this time? Tell them it's a home run. Have the guy with the phone there signal the right call and move on with the game.
Well, the third base umpire, Todd Tichenor, called it a home run immediately. But this is a crew chief review just to make sure that they got it right. Bradley wasn't sure they hit it out. He stopped at second base, so he wasn't certain that he had a home run. Jerry Lane and Mike Winters are the crew chiefs in the replay center in Chelsea. And we wait.
Not that tough.
A little closer view.
Are they seeing something that we don't see?
Don't know. Let's watch this angle. It's a little hard to tell because that top of the wall is so faded. I think it's easier to see from here. The ball goes over the line and hits that back panel there, which is a home run. So that appears to be the most definitive view. At least of the ones that we've seen. Don't know what the Red Sox broadcast has that might show something different. Here's a blow up of the ball hitting on top of the fence and against that back panel, which is a home run. It only has to go above the top edge of the wall, which it clearly does. So.
Come on, make a Custer decision.
Sewald retired the first 2 hitters in the inning on a strikeout and a pop-up, but Pierce and Kinsler with back-to-back hits, and now Bradley apparently with a 3-run homer to put the Red Sox in front. But this is taking an extraordinarily long time for them to figure out. And I would have to think.
There we go.
Oh, here we go.
Hallelujah. Oh!
And they are overruling it. Wow.
Wow.
And are they saying 2-run score? That's going to be the question now.
Right.
I believe
there's 2 outs.
That's what Bill Miller said. And this is the hardest thing about overruling a play like this, is where do you put the runners? I mean, obviously, Pierce would have scored from second, but would Kinsler have scored from first? Apparently that's what they're saying. So it's a 2-run double for Bradley, and instead of a Red Sox lead, it's a tie game.
That is, I'm a little stunned.
I don't know how they did that, Keith.
Neither do I. But Gare, you know, it's just the way it is, and I'm not going to sweat it out, I tell you.
Well, Paul Sewald is happy. This saved him a run. So take away the home run for Bradley, give him his 30th double of the year. 2 runs home to tie the game at 3. And now Mickey Callaway is going to intentionally walk Rafael Devers, bring up Sandy Leon. Now Callaway walked out of the dugout, but he's now walking back. Not sure what that's all about. Oh, he's waiting for a pinch hitter to be announced. Brock Holt is being announced as a pinch hitter for Leon. And now here comes Mickey.
But he's going.
He's going to bring another right-hander.
Yeah,
He's got Drew Smith ready in the bullpen. But he was waiting for the pinch hitter to be announced this time. Call to the bullpen brought to you by Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center. Tie game in the 5th inning. Drew Smith coming in. We'll be right back to Fenway. Jackie Bradley with a 3-run homer turned 2-run double. And the guys right there saying, where did it hit? Well, if it hit there, then it's a double.
Then they got it right.
Then they got it right. Brock Holt pinch hitting. He skies one to deep center. Jackson looking up near the wall, and that's off the fence. Bradley scores. Devers will score. Brock Holt with a 2-run double on the first pitch thrown by Drew Smith, and now the Red Sox are in front 5-3. And Holt didn't miss a 3-run homer by much. High off the wall, just to the left of the yellow line. If it's to the right of the yellow line, it's a home run. But Holt, who's got a couple of pinch hit home runs this year, settles for a 2-run double.
Nice level swing on that high fastball when you're pinch hitting. Boy, you're looking first pitch fastball, 2 outs. Everybody's going to be on the move.
So it's a 4-run inning for the Red Sox. They lead 5-3. And now Mookie Betts takes a curveball up and in. And that's where the ball hit the wall.
All 4 runs charged to Seawald.
And Betts fouls one away. Drew Smith's last outing was a rough one. There's one more look at the ball that Holt hit. Betts has been on base twice today. Hit by a pitch and a walk. And he pops one up into shallow center. McNeil out to call. And that retires the side. But the Red Sox, after 2 out and nobody on, score 4. Bradley and Holt each driving a pair. And Boston goes in front 5-3 after 5. Gun still working on the USS Constitution.
Look how pretty that ship is. Black with the white stripe. Oh, it's just a beautiful ship. Famous frigate of the United States Navy.
Part of the War of 1812, now docked in the Charlestown Naval Yard.
Old Ironsides.
New battery in the game for the Red Sox. Christian Vasquez will catch. Bobby Pointer will pitch his 16th career Major League game. Jeff McNeil, first pitch swinging, pops one up on the infield. And it's Devers, the third baseman, waiting for it. 1 pitch and 1 out. So 1 out and nobody on. Now Michael Conforto's hit 2 line drives. Both have been caught. Rick Porcello went 5 innings, allowed 3 runs on 2 hits, walked 1, struck out 5. That's how you get victories, right? You pitch 5 innings, you give up 3 runs, your team puts up a 4 spot, you come out of the game, and Porcello's in line for his 17th win. Maybe he could teach DeGrom how to do that.
He wouldn't like that.
He wouldn't like the coming out of the game after 5 innings part. He wouldn't mind the team scoring 4 runs for him part.
Well, at this time of year, it's not a 5 and fly. You're setting up. You got the luxury of setting up your pitchers, keeping them strong, setting up your rotation. They were only planning on going 5 with Porcello.
Well, he threw 88 pitches today, so he's out. Pointer in, the rookie left-hander, and Conforto takes up and away 2-1. Cora trying to get his pitching right for the postseason. Of course, the big piece goes tomorrow. That's Chris Sale battling back from shoulder problems. It'll be his 2nd start since coming back from the DL. 2-2 to Conforto. And the plan is for Sale to go 3 innings tomorrow. And And they'll try and build him up over the last 2 weeks to get him ready for the postseason. And Sale is the linchpin. I mean, he's the guy at the head of their rotation when he's healthy. David Price is at a really good second half. 3-2 to Conforto. And then there's Porcello, you know, who's may have win his 17th game today, but he has not have a good postseason history. Neither, for that matter, has Price. But Sale is the guy that they expect to lean on. But the question is, can they get him enough innings to get him ready? Grounded toward the hole. Nice. Kinsler gets a nice hop and throws out Conforto, 2 out. All came up just right for Kinsler, the former Gold Glover.
I still feel that Houston's going to be a tough team to knock out. And the one thing that Boston's going to have in their favor is a home field advantage if and when they meet. But Houston's a very formidable foe.
Well, especially with their depth of starting pitching. I mean, Verlander, Cole, Keuchel, they can run a wealth of starting pitching at you. Here's Jay Bruce.
There you go. Beautiful angle right there. Nice. Played the long hop.
And you really got a good look there on that throw about with his body going one way, the way he aimed the ball to the left of the first baseman to let it tail back.
Yep.
Bruce is 0 for 2 today after his big night last night. He yanks one foul, 1-2.
So the old spinorama, Gare, your favorite term, underhand, and the ball. Well, he almost killed his first baseman.
One-two coming. And it's inside to Bruce. Bobby Pointer, 25 years old, University of Florida product. He's gotten the first 2 hitters out. And he gets Bruce on strikes to end the inning. So Pointer comes in and gets the left-hand hitters 1-2-3. Middle of the 6th, 5-3 Red Sox. Get to Citi Field Saturday night, September 29th. The Mets play the Marlins at 7:10 for Fan Appreciation Weekend. After the game, fans will enjoy a fireworks show presented by Verizon. For tickets, visit Mets.com/tickets. Home 6th inning, Andrew Benintendi leads off against Drew Smith, who gave up the go-ahead double to Brock Holt in the last inning. Now stays on to pitch the 6th. Benintendi 1 for 3 at a base hit in the 2nd. He's also reached on an error and struck out. Red Sox box score brought to you by Nissan. 2-run double by Jackie Bradley tied the game. 2-run pinch hit double by Brock Holt put Boston in front. Drew Smith, the 4th Met pitcher of the day, and he misses low and away to Benintendi. 3-0. Corey Oswalt got the start, went 2 2/3, allowed an unearned run on 3 hits. Daniel Zamora was very impressive, struck out 4 in an inning and a third, but then Paul Sewald got tagged for 4 runs in 2/3 of an inning. Benintendi swinging 3-0, flies one to left center, and Conforto steps in front of Jackson to grab it, 1 away. Now you can watch the Pix games on the go. Just log on to Pix11.com or download the Pix11 app for mobile devices. So 1 out and nobody on. Now J.D. Martinez, who's 0 for 3. 2 strikeouts and a fly ball. Let's have Drew Gagnon up in the bullpen now. And a broken bat bloop. McNeil with a diving catch. Oh, wow, what a play. Jeff McNeil just keeps outdoing himself. He made a great diving grab going to his right last night, and an even better play now, going away and snagging it in the webbing. What a play.
I'll say, just great hustle, lays out, athleticism. Just a great play. Spectacular.
That looked like a 99% sure base hit. And McNeil with some great robbery. That is flat out larceny. 2 out and nobody on for Xander Bogaerts. And he takes fastball at 98 for a strike. Bogaerts drove in the first Boston run with a 1st inning single. Since then he struck out and popped up. Remember when Jeff McNeil had a reputation as a guy who couldn't play defense?
I also remember that when DeGrom came up, that he wasn't a starter there. He was a guy in the bullpen.
I mean, Jeff had some things to clean up in his double play turn, but other than that, he's been impeccable. This one's popped up.
Much easier play for him here.
I would say a tad easier. And he handles that one as well. Well, he's good with 2 hands. He's even better with 1.
Sweet play. That's all you can say.
Flying through the air with the greatest of ease.
And look at Dominic. He appreciates that. Look at Smiley in the background.
Nobody appreciates it more than Drew Smith.
ball in Boston.
We had only 3 cameras to start with. One in back of home plate, one in back of first, one in back of third. 3 or 4 years later, they wanted to put the center field camera in. I remember Joe Cronin had a big argument. He thought that center field camera picture was too good, but the fans would stay home instead of coming to Fenway Park.
Wow. How about that?
That's our boss's dad. That would be Curt Gowdy Sr., longtime voice of the Red Sox.
And you know, when Curt Gowdy Sr. passed away, I wrote a handwritten letter, condolence letter to Curt, our boss, Curt Gowdy Jr., and I stated, and I meant this, I felt like I lost a family member when Curt Gowdy Jr. Sr. died, because he was so much a part of our sports world and on the television. American Sportsman, which was one of my favorite shows. He did football. It was just kind of it got your attention when you read in the paper that he passed.
Stephen Wright, the knuckleballer, in. Wright has been used as both a starter and a reliever throughout his Red Sox career. And he gets the knuckleball in for a strike to Frazier, 2-1. We talked last night about how the Red Sox have some bullpen issues to iron out before they get to postseason, and Wright is going to be very much in the mix for a roll out of the bullpen, which is unusual. Normally, if you have a knuckleballer, especially in postseason circumstances, you're going to roll him out there as a starting pitcher.
Well, you certainly don't want to bring him in the middle of an inning with men on base. It's such a field pitch.
If you recall, though, didn't the Dodgers use Charlie Huff as a knuckleballer? Give up one of Reggie Jackson's home runs
yes,
in
he
the
did.
World Series?
Yes. It would be correct.
Brandon Nimmo on deck, and Frazier bounces one foul. That's in-game box score brought to you by Nissan. Shop ChooseNissan.com. Brandon Nimmo's 3-run homer, the lone feature. Mets have had only 2 hits, a McNeil single and Nimmo home run. And that's up and in, ball 4, so Frazier draws a leadoff walk. Second walk given up by Red Sox pitchers today. And the second time Frazier has walked. And now it's Nimmo, who was plunked in the leg by a pitch in the second. And then behind in the count in the 4th, he took Porcello deep into the bullpen for a 3-run homer, his 17th of the year. He gave the Mets a 3-1 lead at the time. Red Sox responded with 4 runs in the 5th to go in front 5-3, which is where we are now. And knuckleball in for a strike, 0-1.
Well, here's the 4th inning, and there's the fastball that Porcello wanted inside and didn't get it there, and he paid the fiddler.
Ball and a strike to Nimmo. Wright's now 34 years old. Been with the Red Sox all or part of the last 6 years. First drafted by the Indians. Of course, Tim Wakefield also very famously pitched in relief in the postseason for the Red Sox. He gave up Aaron Boone's series-winning home run.
Did the Mets ever have a knuckleballer besides Dickey? Yeah, your remembrance?
Not anybody was around very long. Anyway.
Yeah, I don't believe so. Not in my day. It was never. They never had a knuckleballer. Of course, there were the 2 Negros, Phil and Joe. Phil, of course, with the Atlanta Braves, and Joe Negro with the Houston Astros.
I mean, if you go back a little further, I mean, Hoyt Wilhelm was a reliever for most of his career.
Right. That was unusual. And had the most appearances for a long, long time until Jesse Orozco overtook him.
And Wilhelm got a rare start and pitched a no-hitter against the Yankees.
I did not know that.
And Nimmo tucks the knuckler inside. It's 3-2. And Christian Vasquez had a little trouble handling that one.
I remember one of my favorite teammates for the Cardinals was George Hendrick. And George went right into Whitey's office the first time we went through and had to play in the Braves. And Whitey was first year manager, and he said, "Whitey, I don't play against knuckleballers."
He had the Negro flu.
Yes.
And that one sails to the backstop on ball 4. And the Mets have the tying runs on base. So back-to-back walks issued by Stephen Wright, putting the Mets back in business. And Dom Smith will come to the plate with 2 men on.
Well, what did we talk about there earlier as a knuckleballer comes in cold? You know, it's such a field pitch.
Red Sox will get their bullpen cranking again. Brandon Workman gets up. Here's Smith, who has struck out and flied out today, 0 for 2. Frazier at second, Nimmo at first with nobody out. Dom takes a knuckleball for a strike, 0-1. So far, Wright's thrown only 1 fastball. That's about right. He averages about 91% knuckleballs. That's even more than R.A. Dickey. Dickey would mix in fastballs more frequently than that. R.A. I don't think officially retired, did he? He's just sitting home.
Well, you don't have to announce it.
Well, he's 43 years old, so.
You know, Phil, there you see the ball dancing. Phil Niekro hardly ever threw his fastball. He would throw it, he had a sinker, and it wasn't in no velocity. And when he fell behind the count, 3-1, 2-0, he would throw it. To me, a left-hand hitter, he would just run the sinker away and where he can get hurt the least. But when men were on base, he would not do that. If it was a close game late, he was 3-0 throwing that, 3-1 throwing that knuckleball, 2-0 throwing the knuckleball.
Well, Joe Niekro threw a
slider.
lot more pitches, yeah.
He had a fastball and a slider and the knuckleball. Predominantly threw, I'd say 70% knuckleball.
Yeah, Tom Candiotti was like that too. He would throw mostly knuckleballs, but he could be a conventional pitcher too.
Joe would fall behind in like similar accounts, 3-1, 2-0. He had a backdoor slider for me all the time, and he would paint that son of a gun.
1-2 coming, and the knuckler pulled foul. As a young player, how do you even learn how to approach a knuckleball? I mean, you don't ever see knuckleball pitchers in high school or college or in the minor leagues.
I crouched when I hit a little bit. A knuckleballer, I had to stand completely upright, Gary.
But say you were counseling Dom Smith, who had never seen a knuckleball pitcher before, what would you tell him to do?
Stand upright. If he feels uncomfortable in his regular stance, which I did, I was crouched a little bit, and I felt I couldn't wait on the knuckleball because it floats up there. So I would sit like almost like a batting practice stance. He was totally upright, and it made me kind of wait because I know when Phil threw the hard one, he had a hard one he'd throw inside like Dickey did.
Right.
And he had the soft one that really broke. He'd throw it on the outside corner. But he threw from the ear like a catcher, Gary, and he had the whitest teeth. Phil Niekro. And every time he threw the hard one, he grimaced and you could see it through right from the ear, so I could see his white teeth. I knew the hard one was coming. I swear. I told Lou Brock. I told Lou Brock that. I said, Lou, can you see that? And Lou goes, yes. And whether Lou was telling me the truth or not, I don't know.
That's the greatest pitcher's tell of all time.
A teeth, yes.
His teeth.
I just got it's the truth.
Ninth pitch to Smith, and he tries to lay off. He foul tips it for strike 3, trying to get out of the way of it, and it hit the bat, went into the glove of Vasquez, and Smith is struck out. After all that work.
Let's see if he did foul tip it. Oh, I would question that.
He's still questioning it. No argument from Mickey Callaway.
Everybody's so much mellower today. I'd be all over that umpire if he rang me up like that.
Here's Kevin Plawecki. And he takes a strike on the inside. So after back-to-back walks, Wright wins a long battle with Smith for the first out. Plawecki is flied out and grounded out today. And Plawecki fouls one, and it's 0-2. Stephen Wright, the third Boston pitcher of the day. Rick Porcello went 5 innings, allowed 3 runs, 2 hits. Bobby Pointer worked a 1-2-3 6th, and Wright trying to get himself out of self-induced trouble here in the 7th. To Plawecki. And Kevin flies one to center, and Bradley is there. 2 out. Bradley always does such a good job of staying behind the baseball on those fly balls with men on base. Always in a great position to throw.
You see the momentum coming forward. You're right, Garen.
Part of what makes him such an elite center fielder.
Blackman does it real well for Colorado. Very good. He gets to the ball quickly and gets himself in a position to throw.
So 2 out and 2 on. Now Austin Jackson, who's been up twice and struck out both times. Frazier dancing off second, and he draws a throw. New York Mets baseball is brought to you by Ford. For great deals on Ford cars, trucks, and SUVs, visit buyfordnow.com. The quintessential American League knuckleballer back when you and I were growing up was Wilbur Wood, the rare left-handed knuckleballer for the White Sox.
I faced Wilbur. I think. No, I didn't. He did a little before me. I was thinking Terry Forster. Forster and Gossage were starters for the White Sox.
That's a little different.
Yeah.
Talking about 95 instead of 65.
Oh, man. Flamethrowers. I remember facing Terry Forster in Sarasota in a spring training game. I was young, and I wasn't going to make the team. It might have been my first year. I was invited to camp. Red was the manager of Red Shandy's. And I hit a bullet at the shortstop. I don't know how I hit it. It was an up-and-in fastball. I mean, Terry Forster, there was smoke.
Allen gets away from Vasquez, and that'll move the runners up to second and third.
Well, there's another thing with the knuckleball. It's difficult for the catcher. It's unpredictable.
That'll probably be a wild pitch since it hit the dirt. Yeah, they're going to call it a pass ball.
Really?
It's very rare when the ball hits the dirt that they call a pass ball. Now base hit could tie it for New York. Frazier at third, Nimmo at second with 2 out. 30th pitch of the inning for Stephen Wright. And Jackson pops it up. Pierce takes charge of it, and that retires the side. So Wright walks a pair, and the Mets leave them both stranded. Stretch time in Boston, 5-3 Red Sox. Of the day. This is a special lobster, though. It's the stunt lobster. What can this lobster do?
Is that? Oh.
The handstand, the backflip.
Oh, leave him alone.
Well, at least he's still alive. Last lobster we showed was already boiled. This guy at least has a future. Drew Gagnon on to pitch for the Mets as we go to the bottom of the 7th. Steve Pearce leads off for the Red Sox and takes a slider for a strike. Gagnon's 3rd big league appearance. He made a start earlier this year and then a relief outing against the Phillies last Sunday. 2 hitless innings in that one. Pierce is 2 for 3 today, at a base hit to left and a base hit to center. Scored a run in that 4-run 5th for the Red Sox that put them in front. And Gagnon gets the breaking ball in for a strike, and it's 1-2. 28-year-old Drew Gagnon getting his first crack at the big leagues. 7 years after he was drafted by the Brewers. And his breaking ball is in the dirt to Pierce. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Long Beach State product, still trying to get his feet wet at the major league level. Ian Kinsler on deck, and then Jackie Bradley against Gagnon in the 7th. And he misses away with a fastball, full count. Gagnon, the 5th Met pitcher of the afternoon. Paul Sewald is on the hook after giving up 4 runs in 2/3 of an inning. Corey Oswalt started, then Zamora, then Sewald, then Drew Smith, and now Gagnon. That's lined the other way, and Pierce has his 3rd hit of the day. He has a hit to left, a hit to center, and now a hit to right. So Pierce, who has been a specialist against lefty pitchers, taking advantage of the righties today.
Nicely done. That digs right where the second baseman normally plays.
So the Red Sox had their 8th hit of the day, and now Ian Kinsler, who had one in the 5th inning, a single to center. He's also drawn a walk, 1 for 2. Takes the fastball inside for ball one. So the Mets last night beat the Red Sox 8-0. It's not a big deal, right? Happens all the time. Here's how rarely something like what happened last night happens. A shutout victory by at least 8 runs against a team that's already won 100 games in a regular season game. You know how many other times it's happened in Major League history? Before last night, it had happened twice. Ever.
Huh.
A shutout win of at least 8 runs against a team that had won 100 games. 1929, the Red Sox beat the Philadelphia A's 10-0 after the A's had already won 102 games. 1962 in the 3-game playoff between the Dodgers and the Giants, each of whom had won 101 games. The Giants won 8-0, beat the Dodgers in game 2. That counted as a regular season game. Those are the only 2 times it had ever happened before last night, when the Mets shut out the Red Sox 8-0 after the Red Sox had won 101 games. Nice save by Smith here. That shocked me when I read that. Taken low, and Gagno's digging a hole for himself behind 3-1 on Kinsler. Double play ball. Rosario's got the hop. McNeil with the turn. Double play, 2 men down. So Gagno gets what he needs. Wake up with Dan, Byron, Marissa, and the rest of the Picks Morning News crew with breaking news, traffic, and sports, plus the latest weather to keep you in the know. Mornings from 4:30 to 9 on the Picks 11 Morning News, New York's very own. So 2 out and nobody on. Now Jackie Bradley, whose 2-run double off the very tip top of the Green Monster, tied the game, and he flies this one to shallow center, and there's Rosario to wait for it, and that retires the side. So Gagno gets through the bottom of the 7th. A hit and nobody left. We head for the 8th at Fenway with the Red Sox up 5-3. Time to save big at Nissan's Take Home a Titan Truck Month event. Going to the 8th inning at Fenway Park. Don't get stuck behind a pole. It's always a possibility
It always makes me think of that Caddyshack with Ted Knight behind the desk when the lamp was in the way. He was trying to talk to the. He knocked the lamp off the desk.
Ryan Brazier on to pitch the 8th inning for the Red Sox. He has been a tremendous surprise for Boston. Ahmed Rosario drives one out to right, and in comes Betts to grab it. 1 pitch and 1 out for Brazier. Now Jeff McNeil, who's 1 for 3, has a base hit, stole a base, scored a run. Ryan Brazier made his major league debut 5 years ago with the Angels, and then went into oblivion. He wound up pitching in Japan.
Really?
He pitched for an independent team. He has been all around the block. In fact, he was in the minor leagues in Japan last year. Couldn't even make it to the Hiroshima Carp. He was with their minor league affiliate for a good portion of the year. But he has made it to the big leagues and made enough of an impression that he should be a key piece of the Red Sox postseason bullpen. They checked the half swing and he held it in time. A ball and a strike to McNeil.
One for 3 today with a run scored. Oh, it was a pitch to hit. You saw his reaction to that. That was a hanging slider out over the plate. And just watch his reaction to this helicopter.
It spun but didn't move.
Oh boy, he knew that was one I want back.
Pitcher and hitter both. And McNeil just got a piece of that one to stay in. Now Jeff McNeil has showed off not with his bat but also with his glove in this series. To his right last night, and then this one today.
You know, it's just a beautiful play today, and you know the ball's got to be hit to you to get these opportunities, and he is up to it.
One-two coming, and he gets this one in the air to right center. Bradley drifts back. 2 out. Our next Picks telecast is next Saturday when the Mets meet the Washington Nationals. Coverage begins at 3:30 with Spectrum Picks pregame right here on Picks 11, New York's very own. So 2 out and nobody on. Now Michael Conforto, who's 0 for 3 today. He's hit 2 balls hard with nothing to show for it. Started the day with a 7-game hitting streak. And Brazier took something off. 0-1.
Ooh.
Good slider, and he gets ahead 0-2. Two out and nobody on. 0-2 to Conforto. And Michael with a half swing on the 97-mile-an-hour fastball. Brazier showed him everything he had.
Yep.
Change-up, slider, blazer.
Ups, pretty textbook right there, Gary. Yes.
A Fenway Park recent tradition.
Yep.
Sweet Caroline.
No piped in fake voices. That's the real live broadcast.
Something that Met fans and Red Sox fans can agree on.
This is wonderful. They're endearing themselves to Boston.
There's harmony in the building.
Yes, they're endearing themselves to Red Sox Nation.
Rafael Devers drives one to right, and that's down for a base hit. Nimmo cuts it off nicely, and Devers settles for a leadoff single. And that's how the bottom of the 8th begins against Drew Gagnon. So a leadoff base runner for the Red Sox. Now Christian Vasquez will bat for the first time. Vasquez recently got back from the disabled list. He was out with a broken finger for about a month and a half. And he is part of the three-headed catching combination for the Red Sox with Leon and Swihart. And something that Alex Cora needs to figure out before they get to the postseason about who is going to be his predominant catcher once he gets to October. Leon started this game left for a pinch hitter. And that pinch hitter, Brock Holt, put the Red Sox in front with a 2-run double, and it has stayed that way. 5-3 in the 8th. That's hit hard. Nice backhand play. Frazier out at second, and McNeil with the relay. But what a grab by Frazier to get it started. An absolute bullet one-hopper on the backhand, and Todd made it look like nothing. 5-4-3 double play, 2 out.
Well, this game has had some really nice plays in the field. This is a bullet, beautiful backhand. And that turns it into an automatic double play.
That was sweet. Second straight inning, the Mets have turned a double play for Gagnon. 2 out and nobody on. Now Mookie Betts, who's gone 0 for 2, been on base twice, hit batsman and a walk.
Left of your screen. Beautiful. In between hop, bullet. That is just, that's why they call it the hot corner.
I'm not sure slow motion does it justice. I mean, the velocity on that ball and the backhand and the one hard hop. Craig Kimbrell is up in the Red Sox bullpen, getting ready for a save chance. Mets thought they had put Kimbrell in their rearview mirror. How many times did the Mets see him lock down games in the 9th as a Brave? Tap foul, 2-2. Out of town scores brought to you by Altis One from Optimum. Yasiel Puig, 3 more home runs after 2 last night. Dodgers now have the second wild card. They may have the division lead by the end of the night. Nationals beat the Braves 4 2/3 hitless relief innings for Jeffrey Rodriguez after Jeremy Hellickson left with an injury. 2-2, and Betts lays off the curveball down. Cubs held on for a 1-0 win behind John Lester. He allowed just 2 hits.
How many wins for Lester now?
He's got 16.
Boy.
So for the moment, the Cubs are 2.5 games clear of the Brewers, who play tonight against the Pirates. 3-2 coming, and Betts lifts one down the left field line. Conforto over near the sidewall and runs out of room. And there is not much room down that line. This Hispanic Heritage Month, MLB and the Mets are celebrating the many ways Latinos put an accent on baseball. Share how you put an accent on the game with hashtag Ponle Acento.
Very well done.
I was very nervous.
Think how you used to talk when you were a youngster.
What do you mean?
perfect Spanish. Very nice.
I do not speak Spanish.
I know.
I know a few words of Spanish.
You read Spanish.
I pretended to read in Spanish.
You did a nice job.
Tried my best. Again, the 3-2. And Betts fouls back the fastball from Gagnon. Mets have held Betts and Martinez in check so far in this series. The two MVP candidates combined 2 for 12 in these first 2 games. Mets will have Bruce Frazier and Nimmo coming up in the 9th against Craig Kimbrell. And Betts lays off ball 4, and he's on with the 2 odd walks. So Betts on base for the 3rd time today. First walk given up by Gagnon, and the 4th for Met pitchers today. And that'll bring up Andrew Benintendi, who's gone 1 for 4 today, a base hit back in the 2nd. Corey Oswalt started, gave up an unearned run in 2 2/3. Daniel Zamora gave up nothing over an inning and a third, struck out 4. But then Paul Sewald was tagged with 4 runs in 2/3 of an inning. Drew Smith an inning and a third, no runs, 1 hit. And now Gagnon trying to finish a 2nd inning, but Benintendi laces a base hit to center field. Betts pulls in at 2nd. And so Benintendi has his 2nd hit of the day, and the Red Sox have 2 on for J.D. Martinez.
Pull it up the middle, almost got him. Well, they're saying in the truck that it was 103 miles per hour coming right back at you.
Was that the hardest hit ball of the inning? I wouldn't think so. I would think Vasquez's ball was even harder. Gagnon out, Jacob Rame coming in. 5-3 Red Sox in the 8th. Call to the bullpen brought to you by Memorial Sloan Kettering. Jacob Rame in to face J.D. Martinez, who fouls back his first pitch fastball almost into Howie's lap.
That almost got.
You guys okay in there? Everything all right? And Howie says he's okay. And all Wayne can do is laugh.
I can't help you, Howie.
Howie's waving a white
I can't
flag.
help you, Howie. Why do we got the blackouts here?
0-2 to Martinez. That's the background for our booth shot.
Oh, that's right.
You know, so that when our booth camera shoots us, we have the black background.
Go away. Go away. Leave us alone.
Hi, guys. Leave it to Howie. 0-2 to J.D. Martinez. And it's upstairs 1-2. It's been 11 days since Jacob Rhame was in a game. Not since the Mets were in Los Angeles on the last road trip. And now being asked to get out maybe the MVP of the American League with 2 out and 2 on in the 8th. Martinez 0 for 4 today. He was robbed by that great play by McNeil his last time up. And he takes a fastball high 2-2. Rhame has had trouble with the home run ball. 8 home runs in 25 2/3 innings. Betts and Benintendi, 2 fast men on the bases. Martinez 41 home runs, 1 behind Chris Davis of the A's for the American League lead. And Rhame blows him away with a fastball. Nicely done by Jacob Rhame. Martinez strikes out for the 3rd time today. We go to the 9th. Mets down a deuce. Kimbrel coming in. Howie, get out of the way. Kimbrel on to try and finish this one.
No doubt about that. The strikeouts are always way up. Last year in 69 innings, folks, he struck out 126 batters. That is Herculean.
It was 16.4 strikeouts per 9. His career average is 14.7 strikeouts per 9. So
that's just, it's off the charts.
He led the National League in saves 4 times as a Brave. Had as many as 50 in a season. Went to San Diego for a year and then to the Red Sox. Now in his 3rd season with Boston. 40 saves this year. Jay Bruce leads off against Kimbrel in the 9th. Mets down 5-3. And the curveball at his feet for ball 1. Jay today has grounded out and struck out twice. Mets need a base runner any way they can find one against Kimbrel to give themselves a chance. Bruce is 0 for 5 in his career against Kimbrel. With that condor-like demeanor as he takes his sign.
It looks to me when he does that, yeah, and there's the blazing fastball. It looks like when Snoopy in the Peanuts cartoons was like playing the vulture. When Snoopy would lean over and glare down. That's what it reminds me of.
It's scary, I'll tell you.
Oh, boy.
Especially now with that beard. Curveball fouled off, and it's 1-2. He's got that really good hard curve to go with his fastball. It's got to him a couple of times over the years. That was inevitable, but boy, more often than not, Kimbrel has been automatic. 1-2 coming upstairs. 2-2 to Bruce. Frazier and Nimmo to follow. who's done well against Kimbrel? Jose Reyes had great success
Really?
against Kimbrel. 5 for 8. The Mets go far enough in this inning. Who knows? We might see Reyes try for another shot against him. And Bruce manages to foul off the 98-mile-an-hour fastball. Kimbrel trying to save it for Rick Porcello, who went 5 innings, allowed 3 runs, 2 hits. Bobby Pointer worked a 1-2-3 6th. Stephen Wright worked a hitless 7th. And Ryan Brazier a 1-2-3 8th. Curveball strikes out Bruce for the first out of the night.
Well, I bet you he gets a lot of them like this. He throws so doggone hard that biting slider out of the strike zone in the dirt. I bet you he gets a lot of fans that way. Not you fans. Fans as in strikeouts.
Gets both. People like him even more when he strikes out opposing hitters with that curve. Here's Frazier, who's walked twice and scored a run, otherwise 0 for 1. And Todd attacks the fastball and pulls it foul. Frazier 0 for 4 against Kimbrel in his career. High, ball and a strike. Did we mention that Kimbrel's a free agent after this year?
Really? He's still got some years ahead.
Final year of a 5-year, $54 million deal. Sounds like a bargain. Curveball in for a strike, 1 and 2.
I just didn't realize this. The Mets have only had 2 hits the whole game. And that was back, they got him in the 4th inning when they scored the 3 runs.
Neal singled, Frazier walked, Nimmo hit a 3-run homer, and since then, just a couple of walks along the way. 1-2 coming. Off the corner, 2-2 to Frazier. 331 career saves for Craig Kimbrel. Look at that ERA, look at the opponent's batting average, 14.7 strikeouts per 9 for his career. He's on a Hall of Fame arc. Two coming.
Oh.
And he bounces the curveball foul. Todd had an at bat earlier in the game against Porcello when he fouled off innumerable tough pitches before drawing a walk, and fouling off another tough pitch there. Spot of rosin on the bill of his cap. Two. Reached for, poked out to right center, but Bradley's there. 2 out. And thus the Mets are down to their final out of the evening, with Brandon Nimmo coming up. Nimmo is yet to be retired today. Hit by a pitch in the 2nd, hit a 3-run homer in the 4th, and drew a walk in the 7th. Jacob deGrom tomorrow in the final game of the series against Chris Sale. That's worth tuning in for. 12:30 tomorrow on SNY. 2 out and nobody on for Nimmo. And he almost gets hit by another one. Ball 1. If Nimmo can keep it going, Dominic Smith would be next. And Brandon takes a rip. 1-1. Red Sox 1 out away from their 102nd win of the year. They'll have 13 more games after today to try and build on their historic season. And the curveball misses. 2-1 to Nimmo. Kimbrel now 30 years old. First came up with the Braves in 2010, became their full-time closer the following year. Led the league in saves his first full year in the big leagues. Nimmo bounces one slowly. Bogart's on the charge, and that'll do it. Kimbrel with a 1-2-3 ninth for the save, and the Red Sox even up the series with a 4-run fifth inning. Bradley and Holt with the big hits. And Boston wins at 5-3.
Well, this game seemed like it was methodically slow, but it really wasn't. It was a well-played game. Red Sox show you why they've got 101 wins, a come from behind victory. That 4-run fifth did it for them.
Game summary brought to you by your Tri-State Audi dealer. Porcello went 5 innings for the win. Good job by the Red Sox bullpen. 4 scoreless innings, with Kimbrel picking up his 41st save as the Red Sox win their 102nd.